That's what I'm trying to do right now, is look at it online.
Call this meeting to order, EVIT, East Valley Teamster. And Mr. Hobson will do our pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I like that hammer. Okay. 1 and 2. Okay, call to order. Pledge. Okay. Presentations and recognition, number 3. This is Dr. Wilson.
Mr. President, members of the governing board, one of the things that we do here that I think we do well, although we can always do better, is we celebrate our students. And we should do that because that's ultimately why we're here. But oftentimes what we don't do is recognize and celebrate the individuals who come here every single day and do the work that absolutely changes the lives of the students that we serve. So what we'd like to do tonight is to take an opportunity to celebrate some staff who have done some exceptional work this past year in order for us to continue to become who we expect ourselves to be. And to do that, I'd like to call their director up, Ms. Paula Corbin, who will take it from here. Ms. Corbin.
Hi, thanks for allowing me to come and speak with you guys.
Turn it on.
Thank you. Gotta be smarter than the microphone. Okay. I was ready to go. Thanks for allowing me to come and speak with you guys. I would like to have Becky Covington and Amber Tamari to come on over here, please. They are both vet assisting teachers that we have out at Power. And these two ladies have really stepped up to the plate this year. They've done a lot for our program. We've had to combine some classes this year due to some illnesses with a couple of our teachers. And these two have graciously combined some classes. When we've had permanent subs or substitutes step in, they do not want those students to lose any type of learning. So they are juggling, teaching both classes, teaching the actual content and then letting the subs take them back to the class so that they can, do the application in those classrooms. But they have done everything to put the students first, more than anybody I've ever seen in all my years of teaching. So I personally wanted to thank both of them for all of their hard work that they've done in juggling all of these students, plus doing, clinicals with their year twos. So I'm very, very thankful for both of them. So thank you guys very much.
We don't bite.
We do. They are vets.
How do you think they take care of all those animals?
Do you have any questions for them?
Where do you get the animals from?
Go ahead. Well, right now we have a skills clinic that's open to the public, so the public actually brings in their pets right now. Yep. And then the students sometimes bring in their pets to class too when we allow them to.
Okay, wonderful, thank you.
So I had the opportunity to be out at the Power campus, and I went in to see Ms. Covington. And one of the things that both instructors have always impressed me on and with is their willingness to just lean in and support kids. And we had an issue with staffing, and the idea of trying to find a staff in the middle of the season and try to make it work was just too much. And so they agreed to take the students and split it. And it's easy for people like myself who sits, my butt in a desk all day to say, oh, that makes total sense. But when you walk in and you start talking to the instructors about what they had to go through to take the classes and acclimate them into their own, and to make sure that all were on the same pace, even though we have a scope and sequence and a pacing guide, that doesn't mean that we're actually every single day on the same. So to try to get all the students acclimated, to get the grades merged together, I walked away actually feeling really bad that we put them in this situation because it was overwhelming, but very grateful that we had individuals in the organization that said, instead of, no, we need to find another teacher, let's get a sub until that happens, they're going to do what's in the best interest of the students. And so I haven't told you guys myself personally, but thank you very much for doing what you did. I know it hasn't been easy, and I know that without you doing it, the students wouldn't have had the opportunity that they deserve. So thank you. I very much appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
No, Becky? Becky, you don't get my emails anymore, do you?
No, you get mine still,
You know, I don't even look at them.
but you still get them. I know, because there was an email that went out that I was asked about by Amber, and I was like, what do you? Maybe we should look and see if it went to Robert, because it probably did, and lo and behold, it totally did.
All right.
It's all right, Bill.
In addition to Ms. Corbin, I'd also like to call up Ms. Jen Schwartz and recognize a member of her team who has stepped in and done exceptional work for our students this year. Ms. Schwartz?
Thank you, Dr. Wilson. Good evening, Mr. President, members of the governing board. Thank you for allowing me to come and introduce my instructor today. So very similar to the situation that the veterinary team found themselves in due to some staffing concerns, we also found need for a little bit of extra support in our classroom. Today I have Miss Olivia Gornall
Come on up.
here with me today. So Ms. Gornall is not new to EVIT. She's been with EVIT for several years, but in a different capacity. She actually moved into her teaching role just this year. So she's a brand new rookie teacher. But because of those staffing issues, she offered to allow those students to come into her class and, again, merge into her class, and has gone above and beyond and seamlessly integrated those students into her class as well. So with herself and the help of an aide, she's able to manage more students than we usually like to see in a classroom, but she's doing it effortlessly and doing a wonderful job with it. So I just want to say thank you for allowing me to come here and recognize one of our new baby teachers.
So could you walk through a little bit? You've been in the organization a bit of time. Can you kind of walk us through your trajectory and your path here?
So my path here, I didn't think it would go as long as it has. I started as a teacher's aide for the veterinary assisting program, and I did some of their clinical coordination as well, reaching out to animal hospitals and other animal-related fields. And I didn't know it was going to be long-term. I ended up falling in love with this school and what they do here. I do think they have a great purpose, and a lot of the work that they do is just amazing. The students that come through, they never cease to impress me. They always amaze me. And then I did that for 3 years, and then I got my bachelor's degree, which I did online. I got that last year, and I was able to actually apply for Introduction to Health Careers Instructional Teaching and actually be a real teacher, which I didn't think I would do, and now I'm doing it, and I love it. We did have a teacher kind of fall away middle of the year, and I said, you know what, I've worked with these kids in that we had team teached in the beginning in the auditorium just to help me along, and I said, I know a lot of those students. I'm willing to take them on. And while it is a big class for a first-year teacher, it's not anything I can't handle. And again, a lot of the students, they are really impressive. They are actually amazing every day. Is it difficult? Am I always on? Of course I am. But I think we get through it just fine, and most of my students are very, very bright, and I see a good future ahead of them.
Very good. So what I love so much about is that, you know, when we have this in other areas of the organization, but individuals that come to us that stay connected to us and decide that this is where they want to put their roots and grow with us. And this is a great example of that, of someone who came in and didn't know that this was going to be a career path that they chose, but liked the work that they were doing, liked the kids that they were working with, and found a way to stay with us. The benefit to us is that when we had the issue that we had somebody that, yes, she's a first-year teacher, but she'd been part of the organizational culture and fabric for now 4 years, and some of that was able to be transferable to the challenge that she's facing. So again, like the others, thank you very much for taking the opportunity and having faith with us and sticking with us and helping us this year with our students. Very much appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to help EVIT and allowing me to come to this board meeting. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, item number 4, minutes. Do I have a motion?
Mr. President, I move we approve the minutes for February 12th, 2024.
Okay, do I have a second? Is there a second?
Second. Did you just second it?
I guess I did.
All right.
All right,
We have a motion. Any
any comments?
comments? Yep.
Okay, ready for the call? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Motion carried.
Okay, we have a call to the public. And Christine Ballard, would you like to come forward? You'll have basically 3 minutes to speak, and we will listen to what you have to say, and we cannot make any comments back. Thank you for being here. Oh, is the mic on?
Yeah, the mic's not on, yeah.
No. Push the button.
There,
you go.
that
You're
better,
good now.
okay. Good evening, board members. It's a pleasure to meet you, however unfortunate the circumstances. My name is Christine Ballard, and I've had the pleasure of working with EVIT since March of 2022. I came to EVIT after 23 years of service with Maricopa Community Colleges, where my reputation and work ethic was nothing short of exceptional. Although it was difficult to leave, it had been a dream of mine to be a part of the EVIT family. I was thrilled at the opportunity to be a part of the exciting changes and growth of EVIT, and I knew I would be a valuable asset to that change. I was especially excited to be a part of the transition into college degrees, which is my specialty. I had planned on staying with EVIT for the duration of my working career, and my 23 years of service with Maricopa Community Colleges reflects my commitment of time. During my short employment with EVIT, I worked diligently, arriving half an hour every single day, skipping lunches, answering student emails off the clock from home happily, to ensure that my students were taken care of in a timely fashion, and they knew I was always available. They expressed how much they appreciated that I cared and that I was dedicated. They felt heard and valued. On Friday, February 16th at approximately 3 p.m., I was let go without cause. Last August, I reported my disability and my accommodations, although my disability would not affect my performance, nor my job functions as outlined. I felt uneasy. I have to ask, could this termination have been because of that? In closing, let me explain to you how this decision to terminate my employment without cause has impacted my life. For the first time in 25 years, at 55, I am unemployed. My ASRS retirement that I've been building most of my adult life will now be halted. The worst blow of all, I rely on my medical benefits, as my life-saving infusions are a staggering $62,000 every 3 months. This decision to terminate my employment will leave me without income and unable to receive my medical treatment. I never in a million years would have left Maricopa Community Colleges if I thought this could happen. I am brought to my knees, no warning, no reason, no severance, and I ask that you please reconsider this decision. Thank you, board members, for your time and allowing me to put this on record. Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 6, personnel. Do I have a motion?
Mr. President, I move that we adopt the recommended business in item 6A.
6A? Okay. Do I have a second?
Mr. President, I second item 6A.
Any statements? Hearing none, I ask for the question.
All those in favor of item number 6A, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Motion carries, Mr. President.
Thank you. Go to item 7, information and discussion. Dr. Wilson.
Mr. President, members of the governing board, I'm going to turn this section over to our Director of Legal Services, as item A is a policy revision and new policies.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. Let me start with the new policy. It's Chapter 5, Section 22, subsection B. This is a new policy based on the 2 calendars that you adopted in the past. So this just embodies what you've already adopted as the policy to enforce what you've already done. And that spells out what you get if you choose calendar A or calendar B. Those changes that new policy necessitated changes to some other personnel policies, in particular, Chapter 5, Section 24D, personal leave. We're no longer converting under what you adopted for calendar A and B. Unused personal leave does not carry over sick leave. We have full-time 10-month employees who are not instructors. We had to change the personal leave for instructors to personal leave for full-time 10-month employees. And personally for non-instructional staff, that just changes to match the new calendar A, calendar B. And then vacations and holidays, we recently changed that so that the full-time 10-month employees would get those paid holidays, but since calendar A and calendar B do not include Columbus Day, we're removing that from those paid holidays for non-instructional 10-month employees. Other than that,
Did I read in, see if, correct me if I'm wrong, yeah, I read in there someplace where personal leave, if you don't use it, you lose it,
correct.
okay? I mean, it looked like you would reward someone for, it's just my question that it would be rewarded for keeping those personal days. I know when I retired, I appreciated those personal days I didn't use.
No, we're taking that out. That's correct. Use it or lose it is the way it is now.
Yeah,
And I think part of the rationale behind that is that is it B, that if you're an A, there's quite a few days that you already have built in the calendar off. B,
Yes.
part of what we're wanting to do is actually have people use time. There will be some individuals who take B who probably need to take advantage of taking the time in order to stay refreshed in the organization. And so they may not use their vacation, but they may choose to use a personal day if they know it's not going to roll into their sick time. So it's more an effort to try to get them to actually take time during the course of the year.
but I just see that you're kind of forcing them, if they want personal days to use them, tell you 4 or 5 days ahead of time, and I'll take one just because I want one for, I guess, for whatever. But I know that when my mother or father died, I needed, or my mother-in-law, I needed some extra time. And I was glad I had all those personal days. That's,
Mr. President, under the existing policy, you got one sick day if you didn't use any personal days. So even if you used one personal day, you weren't getting the sick day. And there weren't that many people who didn't even use one, so it's really not having that big of an impact to have changed to use it or lose it. Because basically everybody was using at least one.
okay, just my personal feelings, but thank you. Okay. Thank
Item-
you. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, any other questions for item A, or if not, can I move on to item B? You okay with that?
Okay. Done with is that all the information we have on number 7?
On item A, on item B,
Okay, B.
we have, I'm going to ask Dr. Doolin to come to the podium and talk about some of the challenges and opportunities that we're foreseeing within the organization, is to try to position ourselves to be better servants and better stewards in the workforce development area that we're currently not necessarily very active in. And I think Dr. Doolin will explain a little bit about that, and then we'll come back again at a later date and speak a little bit more in detail.
President, members of the board, as always, it's a pleasure to be here with you. I won't take too much of your time today, but we did want to start opening up a conversation about some of the things we're looking at, and that is some of our STEM program planning. We, of course, have a lot of STEM on the main campus, and we have some STEM, what we would call STEM, out on the Power campus. But what we're looking at is we have some missing pieces that are not on both campuses, and really looking at what we can do to increase what we're doing in the STEM areas, largely around engineering, aviation, and then our tech trades. But we don't have the tech trades out at the Power campus. We also want to partner with some of the STEM training. We're hearing, believe it or not, welding is kind of in that avenue, is that they need welders in the pipe to be able to do some of the work in the aviation as well as in the engineering field, and to understand that. So we have welding already out at the Power campus, but we do not have the technical trades. So one of the things we're looking at, and we're trying to, we're pursuing some grants that would help us do that, is so that we can potentially expand some of those tech trades out at that East Campus, so that we have a better alignment of the STEM curriculum on both campus, not just the main campus, but also on the Power campus. Lots of avenues out there. It's really booming out there, and that's really where we need to put some of the STEM and tech areas. Any questions for me?
Is there a possibility we're going to be able to get math credit for the students that are taking STEM?
We can always crosswalk it. We do it now. Again, we can crosswalk the curriculum and have approval, but it's always up to the district if they're going to award the math credit. We have crosswalked quite a few credits. It's just the home districts are not awarding that credit or allowing that, recognizing that credit. It's always up to the home district. There's not much we can do about that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think one of the areas that we have spent some time as of late kind of drilling into is this idea of STEM and of technology and how we can be better partners in that space. You know, we focus a lot of our energy on health sciences, which matters, the industrial trades, which matters. But we know that there's a void that's missed in some of that higher end kind of STEM training that is desperately needed by some of our industry partners like Honeywell and Raytheon and some of those defense industries that are in need of workforce development as much as the construction industry is, but in very different programming. And so our hope, not only in terms of getting grants, but also partnering with some of those industries to help us build out a program that actually meets their needs that exist every bit as much as some of the other industries that we tend to focus on. So we're going to continue to work through that, and we will bring it back to you. But I just wanted to make sure you guys were aware that we are beginning the process of trying to expand that part of our programming, and most likely it would be out at the Power Campus. And unless you have questions for me, Mr. President, that's all the information and discussion.
Nope. Anybody have questions? Thank you, Dr. Wilson. Now we're on to item 8, employee work calendar for new hires. Dr. Wilson.
Mr. President, members of the Governing Board, I'm going to actually ask our Director of Legal Services to wrestle with this one.
This relates to the 2 calendars you adopted in January and the new policy we're putting in place. The goal is to get everybody on calendar B. So when you adopted those calendars, it was going to be effective July 1. What we'd like to do is basically say that anybody hired from this point forward is going to be on calendar B. So we can get everybody in line rather than have them hired under A and switch to B in July.
Okay. Any other questions?
Mr. President, will there be a special category for people who want to have personal leave like Mr. Covington?
He might want me to take off the rest of the year here.
You can adopt a policy that gives Mr. Covington unlimited personal leave.
Okay.
So
We
you
have
want us
an
to, you
action.
want us to approve this, yes?
We need an action, we need a motion, please.
Mr. President, I move that we approve item 8A immediately, providing that all employment contracts be based on option B.
I second.
Okay, first and second, any questions, any statements, questions? Okay, hearing none, I ask for the question.
All those in favor,
Aye.
please say aye. Okay, all those opposed, please say nay. Motion carried.
Okay, we need to go to an executive session. We need a motion.
Mr. President, I motion that we move into executive session.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a first and a second. And acclamation.
All those in favor of moving into executive session, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Mr. President, motion carries.
Thank you.
And we'll actually move this time to the area that we were before. We'll walk out there. It's a bit of a longer discussion, so probably better to be in a little bit more
We
secure
can't go
area.
to the racquetball courts.
No, we can't.
that we direct the board's attorney and superintendent to proceed as instructed in the executive session.
I second.
There shouldn't be any discussion. We've already had it. Call for the question.
All those in favor of providing, moving forward per executive session instructions for the superintendent, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Motion carries.
Staff report. Dr. Wilson, you're on.
Mr. President, members of the governing board, I got nothing tonight. I just,
Wow.
I know.
So you don't have to be brief?
I don't have to be brief. I got nothing tonight. It's a pleasure seeing everybody.
Second that. Oh, sorry.
Thank you. Okay, we're on to 12, closing item calendar. We have a meeting on March 11th at 6 p.m. Anything else anybody else want to add something to the agenda for next time?
I don't know about the next time. Did we have training on the open meeting law? When I first come on, we had training the open meeting law through the
ASBA or?
Yeah, ASBA, which we're not a member of anymore.
Correct.
Do we need to have our esteemed legal counsel do the?
I think there's always value in doing that. I think revisiting that can always be of benefit for sure.
It's amazing how often you find yourself, oh, no, that's.
Yeah,
fine."
I agree.
So I wonder if we could have
Yeah.
counsel maybe at his leisure, consistent with openings, maybe schedule a
Sure.
little time to talk just about things we can and can't do.
That makes sense.
You sound like a lawyer. Any other additions to the calendar? Hearing none, I will go for the adjournment, and I make a motion that we get out of here. Second, all in favor, say aye. Aye.